Hey everybody, it's Justin here with Thoughtfully Grown Homestead, and today we're going to be making some apple cider vinegar. Let's check it out. So if you regularly use apple cider vinegar like we do, you've probably noticed that as of late, the big commercialized brands have changed quite a bit. What used to be a dark and rich color is now more like a translucent yellow, and even the flavor is quite a bit different too. Right about the time we noticed the change with the commercialized stuff was right about the same time we bought this little piece of land to start building our homestead. And with 5 apple trees on the property that produce plenty of apples that mostly feed the deer, we figured why not try to make our own apple cider vinegar. It's one of those items that costs quite a bit in the store, and it's really easy to make with only apples, sugar, and water. So now that we've got all of our apples washed, we're gonna start chopping them into smaller chunks and adding them to a container. This could be a simple mason jar for a smaller batch, or even a 5-gallon food-grade bucket like I have here for a larger batch. Now you're going to want to fill this container about 2/3 of the way full, and you can use every part of the apple, cores included. Now since we don't use any type of pesticides on the property, I am inspecting the inside of each apple just to make sure there's no bugs or worms or anything like that. And most of them are pretty good, but occasionally we do find a little worm spot. And in that case, I'll just chop that off and toss it to the side. So once your container is about 2/3 of the way full, you're going to want to add 1 cup of sugar per gallon. So since this here is a 5-gallon bucket, I'm going to add 5 cups of sugar. And if you're using a smaller container, just do the math to figure out how much sugar you need to add. So next, you're going to want to fill the container with filtered water, and you want it non-chlorinated. So if you're on a well, you're good, but if you're on city tap water that has chlorine added to the water, that chlorine is going to hinder the fermentation process. So be sure to pick up a jug of spring water. Us here, we're on a well with a reverse osmosis system, so I'm going to take this bucket inside and fill it up in the filter tap, and I'll be right back. All right, so after you add your water, you're going to want to stir this well and then cover it with some type of breathable material with a rubber band around it. This could be an old shirt, a coffee filter, really anything that's going to allow it to breathe and keep the fruit flies out. So after that, you're going to want to store this in a cool, dark place for 6 weeks and stir it every single day. The sugars are going to settle to the bottom and the apples are going to rise to the top. So this just keeps everything mixed well and keeps a mold-free environment. After 6 weeks, you're going to want to strain out all the apple pieces with a mesh strainer, put the liquid back into your container, and again, cover it with your cloth. At this point, if you want to, you can add a shot of store-bought apple cider vinegar. This is going to help to kickstart the next part of the process. You're going to let this sit for 3 to 4 months, and over that time, you're going to start to see good bacteria and yeast forming. That's the start of the mother, and you've probably seen that in the bottom of apple cider vinegars that you've purchased from the store. Then after 3 to 4 months, your apple cider vinegar should be ready. So what I would do is give it the smell test, give it the taste test, and see if it smells and tastes like store-bought apple cider vinegar. And if you want, you can buy test strips that test the acidity, just in case you want to make sure you're above that 5% level. I know on our last batch we didn't test it, but just by the zinginess alone, I could tell that we are on par or even more so than the store-bought stuff. This year though, we're definitely going to test our batch just so we have an idea of where we're at. But that's how we make our apple cider vinegar. I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. We'll see you in the next video.